In 2013, in the quiet UK town of Wisbech, 86-year-old Una Crown was found murdered in her home. For over a decade, police had no leads, no witnesses, no motive, just a haunting silence that left the community in fear. This is the story of how a cold case that baffled detectives for years was finally solved by a microscopic piece of evidence, leading to a suspect who was hiding in plain sight, living just streets away. It's a case that proves that even when the trail goes cold, the truth never truly disappears. Una Crown was a fixture in Wisbech, a town she had called home her entire life. Known for her predictable routines and friendly demeanor, she was a familiar and beloved figure to her neighbors. She lived a simple, modest life in her small bungalow. Her days were filled with quiet activities, walk to the local shops, tending to her garden. She was the kind of person you'd never imagined would become the center of a brutal crime. Yet, in the most ordinary of lives, tragedy can strike without warning, shattering the peace of a close-knit community and leaving behind a legacy of unanswered questions. On January 13, 2013, concerned family members made a horrifying discovery. Una Crown had been brutally murdered inside her own home, a place that should have been her sanctuary. Police were called immediately, but the scene was eerily quiet. There were no obvious signs of a break-in, and no eyewitnesses had seen or heard anything unusual. The news sent shockwaves through Wisbech. How could something so violent happen in their peaceful town, to a woman everyone knew and loved? The investigation began with a sense of urgency, but detectives quickly found themselves facing a wall of silence. The leads were scarce, and the answers seemed to be just out of reach. Detectives from the Cambridgeshire Major Crime Unit launched a massive investigation. They canvassed the neighborhood, going door to door, hoping someone had seen something, anything, that could point them in the right direction. What started as a high-priority murder investigation soon became one of Wisbech's most frustrating and puzzling mysteries, a case that seemed destined to remain unsolved. During the initial sweep of the crime scene, forensic investigators worked meticulously, collecting every possible piece of evidence. They knew that in a case with no witnesses, science could be their only hope. Among the items they collected were tiny, almost invisible, DNA samples from Una's clothing. Back in 2013, the forensic technology available was unadvanced enough to generate a usable profile from such a small amount of material. The samples yielded no matches in the national database. But the investigators had the foresight to carefully preserve this evidence. These microscopic traces of the killer were carefully stored away in a secure facility, becoming silent witnesses, waiting patiently for the day when science would finally catch up and give them a voice. For over a decade, the unsolved murder of Una Crown cast a long shadow over the town of Wisbech. The community lived with a lingering sense of fear and uncertainty. Vigils were held, and her memory was kept alive, but the unanswered questions haunted everyone. Who could commit such a heartless act against a vulnerable elderly woman? Why was Una targeted? And perhaps most disturbingly, how could the killer simply vanish, living undetected among them? The case became a local legend, a chilling reminder that a murderer might still be walking their streets. This collective trauma bonded the community in grief, but also in a desperate hope that one day, justice would finally be served for Una. Then, in 2024, a breakthrough. Driven by advancements in forensic science, investigators with the Cold Case Unit decided to re-examine the evidence from Una's murder. They took the tiny DNA sample that had been collected from her clothing all those years ago and submitted it for analysis using cutting-edge techniques. The technology was now far more sensitive than it had been in 2013. This time, the lab was able to generate a full DNA profile. When they ran it through the national database, they got a hit, a direct match. The suspect was a man who, for the past 11 years, had been living just a few streets away from where Una was killed, hiding in plain sight. With the DNA match secured, police moved quickly. The suspect was arrested, and the news sent a fresh wave of shock through the community. The crime may have been opportunistic, a moment of aggression that spiraled out of control. When the case finally went to court, the prosecution presented a compelling argument, anchored by the indisputable DNA evidence. The trial brought to light more details about the suspect and the circumstances surrounding that fateful day in 2013. While a verdict was reached and a measure of justice was served for Una Crown, many aspects of her final moments remain shrouded in mystery. The trial couldn't answer every question that had haunted her family and the community for so long. It provided a name and a conviction, but the complete story, the full truth of what happened inside that quiet bungalow, may have died with Una. The resolution of Una Crown's case after 11 long years is a testament to the relentless progress of forensic science and the unwavering dedication of law enforcement. But it also leaves us with lingering questions. How did the killer evade suspicion for so long? Were there subtle warning signs that were missed? And how many other cold cases are out there, just one scientific breakthrough away from being solved? The story of Una Crown is a powerful reminder that justice may be delayed, but it should never be denied. This was the Una Crown case. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to Criminal Verse, where every crime hides a story.